Okay. Oh, is that working? All right. Okay. So I'm going to make a lump for the Red Ribbon Society. My main plan here is to just put this giant heron head on this wolf demon. I forget what exactly he is. I know he's some kind of demon for D&D. This guy's one of those Reaper Bones minis. He's made out of that soft plastic, which I'm very not fond of. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to take off this big ol' chunk. All right. Maybe I should do this in a way that actually contains it instead of having these tiny resin chips fly out everywhere that I will inevitably step on. Nope, that's definitely not going to work. I think we're just going to have to keep going at it with the pliers, the clippers. Slowly making progress. Okay, what happened here? Okay. Okay. Don't know if we're going to be able to do any better with the clippers than that. Oh, thank you very much. All right, I think we're switching to the knife. We got a mask anywhere. I want to try to avoid breathing in little resin dust. Okay. I think we're gonna have to shave this down pretty far. I also think this guy's a little too busy. I think we're gonna keep one arm. I think we're just gonna lop this whole arm off. Put a pitchfork in this hand like he's a farmer holding a pitchfork. We probably don't need this whole crab arm. Oh, praise the root indeed. I plan on this guy being, in particular, a lump for the Red Ribbon Society. They got one of their special rules that lets them spend a bunch of their crop tokens to make a lump. So I'm going to go in a very veggie-heavy direction with this guy. Okay. I think we're going to still have to shave quite a bit of this body off. But if I had a lighter somewhere around here, might be able to melt through this plastic. Alright, let's try this out. Okay, well, that worked for all of 3 millimeters. And then immediately cooled down. Thank you for stopping in, Vince. Okay. I think we're getting close. Oh god, I'm sad to say I'm more familiar with the Weird Al Gump than I am the original Lump. I was trying to remember who the band that did that was. I honestly forget what this model is. I want to say it's a wolf demon. I know it's a Reaper Bones miniature. I'm always slightly disappointed. I can see right now that all of the black primer on him is just rubbing off directly onto my fingers. I think he might have had some kind of mold release that I didn't wash off of him. I feel like I want to call it a wolf demon. I feel like that doesn't sound right, though. Yes. Presidents of the United States. Yeah, I don't think I know a single other song by them other than that one Lump song. All right, let's get push this glue back into place. You know, I was thinking of maybe going for more of a tomato color scheme. I'm honestly not sure exactly what kind of crop I want him to represent. I know I don't want to color him like either a wolf or a bird or something. Definitely some sort of vegetable. Maybe a turnip. Okay. Kitty, I might have to look that one up. Okay. Getting hot glue all over this guy. All right. Might have to make a lot of noise from our air compressor for a second. I'll just blow some cold air on him. All right. Have a good night, Vince. Okay. Let's see. Well, I can already tell this guy is not going to be able to have like any units in front of him. Kind of just a little too big for that. Just slightly inconvenient. So maybe I want to angle him up a little bit. Put him standing on a rock. That way you could kind of get close. Or maybe just put him on a big ol' rock like that. Maybe a little bit of both. Okay. Now I think I want to get some organic bits. Oh, you know, peach could actually be interesting. I like the idea of doing something with some tonal variation. I like that. Maybe I could give him a little crow's nest or something and hide a archer up here. Okay. I know the bassoon is a real instrument, but I always feel like it's sounds like one of those made up instruments whenever I hear the name. I know when I was in high school, my band teacher was like a bassoonist, was his main instrument. Which I just feel like if you're going to pick any instrument in the world, that seems like such a crazy one to specialize with. So it went a little off center when applying his head. I think it'll be fine though. All right. Now the goal here is that all of this stuff will get painted up like plant stems coming out of him. That's the idea. Ooh. Fix that up real quick. All right. Yeah, maybe let's put some more in the front. Cover up that seam a little bit. Oh, stay right there. I suspect I'm either going to lose quite a few of these at some point. So my plan is to overdo it a little bit, because I think some of them are just going to naturally want to fall off. Okay. Just gonna hold this guy in front of the fan for a second. Lost a stem there. Get that back on. Oh God, I wish I was that fancy. I buy the yellow cans of tomatoes, which I believe are Centos. Uh, I know they are not the absolute cheapest, but they're close to being the cheapest. That's pretty much what I base my tomato purchases off of. I can't remember the last time I've actually eaten a real, raw, true, fresh tomato, and not one that came from a can. Uh, but based off of aesthetics, I like the grapes. They're pretty cool. There's something cool about those beefsteak. I don't know if that's actually what they're called, but those thick, chunky tomatoes. All right, I think I'm gonna try to find something to put them on. Okay. Let's see. Maybe a tactical rock. That's too much of an angle. It's getting close to what I'm looking for, though. Okay, I think we're gonna have to drive a pin through this guy's foot. Uh-oh, lost another twig. Let's crank that power up. Okay, well, I should have done low and slow. Should not have cranked that up to max, but that's fine. We're gonna cover that up with texture paste. Okay, now I just need a paper clip. Oh, nice. I feel like I need to learn more about the whole horticulture side uh, of the world as a whole, honestly. If not only just to use it for references of turnip models. I've learned a little bit about root vegetables. Uh, I see the problem is that I haven't used any of the knowledge, so it's all just immediately escaped my mind. But I knew at some point the different variations of what counts as like a corm, which I know is one of the types of root vegetable. I've gone far more into learning about the whole Napoleonic history side, if anything. Maybe just because watching those videos are a little bit more interesting to my taste than when I watched the farming videos. But in my very few rare attempts at doing some home gardening, uh, they've almost always ended in my negligence and the plants eventually dying. I think I've like succeeded with potatoes, and that's about as far as I've ever got. Okay. The trick here is to make sure that there's not too much pressure in the super glue tube and it just explodes. Oh, that's assuming there was anything left in here. Nope. I think that's okay. Let's see if this one works. Oh, yes. Okay. I know I got some activators somewhere. Oh, I may have to use baking soda if I can't find that, though. Which would be fine if I could actually find that either. Or I guess, oh, there it is. I was going to say if I just wait long enough, then it'll eventually cure. Okay. Skew that, cover that up a little bit. Yeah, maybe something like that. Okay. I feel like I need some cardboard now to make some bulk. Or maybe some tin foil would be easier. Maybe we'll do a little bit of both. You know, maybe I'll have to give gardening another serious attempt because it definitely is definitely harder than I've given it credit for in the past. Maybe I'll actually have to like try growing turnips or something. Seeing if I can do that. see if I can find my aluminum. Oh, I know I got some somewhere in this room. Okay. This is way more than I'm gonna need. Okay. I think this guy needs a little bit more wide of a stance. Okay. Okay, I'll let that cool down for a minute. Maybe let's make our pitchfork. I know I want this to look like one of those old-timey wooden peasant pitchforks. Where you take like a single branch and then just... I don't even know what you call the term, but like force all the branches, you cut them and then make them grow in this sort of three-pronged perfect branch. I think these prongs still look a little too big. Let me shave those down. Whoops. I should have done that downwardly so I could catch those instead of letting those just fly into that room. I will somehow, I'll eventually step on them and find them again. Okay. 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 All right. Nope. Turn it on. Keep it on. And go inside. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Now this guy will have to hold in front of my fan again. Cool him down. Oh, you know what I definitely should have done was check for mold lines. Scrape those off of this guy. also think we're going to fill in some of these gaps. Okay, I know I had some. God, I got at least one extra glue stick somewhere here. Oh. Yeah, one thing I definitely do like about turnip is that I can just put all my guys on very simple, very muddy bases. I don't feel bad about not giving them very nice, complex little dioramas with skulls and everything near them. But I guess maybe in the future I should actually consider leveling up my bases and not just doing muddy clumps. Oh God, where did I put this glue stick? Oh, there we go. Yeah, all right. Load up. Okay. It needs to get used before we can properly load it up. Just seal those gaps a little bit more. Another thing I might try in the future, I really want to make a Schraal warband or regiment. The Schraal is referenced in one of the books in the Mercenary Tasters campaign book, and it's the only thing we have two words about the entire location, and that's that we know that it is an ice sheet. But I think it'd be very fun to make a bunch of snow troops. I want to make some Finnish skiers. I want to make some dog sleds. Maybe a Yeti would be cool. And I got this bird head. I pitched into the turnip lance, shattered lance Kickstarter, and so they sent me one of the 3D printed dragons, and they gave me all his head options. And I knew I was only going to use one for the actual dragon itself. So I decided I'm going to have to find a use for these 3 spare heads I'll now have. And that was kind of the main inspiration for why I decided to make this guy today. Oh yeah, snow peas, absolutely. All right, I think I'm gonna chop off his tail. Okay. I think his base can probably use with just a bit more bulking out. Wow. The old bite technique didn't work. Okay. I think I'm going to actually practice good sub-assembly procedure this time. So I think I will paint this pitchfork up separately. Oh, definitely spot some more mold lines though. And I think I'm going to strengthen this bond with some super glue. Hopefully that head doesn't just fall right off. I'll stick some more stems right in the center. Sort of make this look a little more dense. This guy's going to be a nightmare to transport anywhere. This head is a little heavy too. Oh, maybe I should have considered that. Scooched him back a little bit. A little too late for that now, though. Kind of committed. Okay. I think we're going to have to do a lot of blending with some mud. Okay. I think I'm going to also have to do some watered down PVA to strengthen all those little stems. Yeah, all right. Does that smell like mold has grown in it? Ooh, okay. Oh my god, that's got a smell of something. I feel like that's not good. It smells like hand sanitizer, which I'm trying to think if that's because I specifically threw in some alcohol in here to potentially try to get it to not mold on me. Okay. All right, I think I might have to ruin a brush here. All right, brush, prepare to get sacrificed. Now, one thing I think I've done too much of in my previous models, which I think I've kind of learned my lesson, specifically actually from reading one of Max Fitzgerald's tutorials, the creator of Turnip 28, said to utilize texture as an opportunity to add more contrast to your mini, and that you have some areas of super high texture and then some areas of relatively low texture. And in the past, I've always just slathered everything from head to toe 100% in texture paste. So this time I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate and have maybe like 30% of this model with a super high concentration of lots of texture. Uh, it's honestly, it's almost like how people have that that one perpetual soup guy who he just like keeps adding ingredients. This is I know it's mostly spackle, some sand, some baking soda, I think, PVA, and brown craft paint. And just whenever I notice it's getting low on any certain quality, whether or not that's thickness or adhesiveness or grit or uh, color, whatever it is, I'll just add more of whatever is necessary. I am realizing this texture paste is going to take forever to dry, though. So I might have to leave him for a little while. All right, I think we're just going to cover up all of these hot glue seams. Okay. Bop, bop, bop. I've never even heard of powdered clay, but that sounds like that could be useful. I'll have to give that a shot. I know I did try putting air dry clay in one of my texture pastes before, and I thought I was gonna just be able, after enough mixing, it would eventually uh, help contribute to the texture paste in some way, but it unfortunately got like ruinously bad instead. So I just don't ever mess with air dry clay anymore. Well, also I was using the absolute like cheapest of the cheap giant tub of Crayola, which maybe if I was using like a half decent air dry clay, it would have actually been fine. Okay. Ooh, definitely not happy with how front heavy he is. Uh, Maybe I can just put a bunch of weights in the back of this guy's base. What might I have? But while I'm here, mayhaps. Trying to think of where I might want to throw some tufts on this guy. Yeah, I think for some extra texture variation. Ooh, an elastic texture paste. I feel like there's got to be some unique things you could do with that, but definitely not what I traditionally want from a texture paste. Okay. I feel like I could do it with a few more. I could see that also being good if you're able to like bake it in the oven or something and make little textured mud rocks out of it. You could have like, I don't know, maybe make it into little shapes. Oh yeah, no, I just obliterate my tuft supplies. I've tried making my own, and every single different variation I've ever tried has never been nearly as good as like the pre-made tufts. But I honestly do go through enough of them that it might actually be worth figuring out how to make those properly. Okay. Yeah, definitely just like even playing with static grass on like a small scale on just a single mini can occasionally be more mess than it's worth. But whenever you try to do a very big project with static grass, like making a bunch of little tufts, it's pretty much inevitable that you're going to get these tiny strands of itchiness just lost, hiding in every tiny little crevice of your room for the rest of eternity. Let's see. Actually, maybe let's do a little bit more work on the pitchfork. Yeah, tufts are in one of those spots where they are just affordable enough where I can justify thinking that it's worth buying them. Uh, they're like definitely texture pastes though. That's just so easy to make compared to what they charge for it. I think it's really crazy that there's like anyone in the world that actually buy and use those pre-made like AK interactive diorama mud, just like any product like that, or those tiny little pathetic bottles of like Games Workshop well, whatever their mud is called. I know it has some very specific 40k lore name. Like I want his arm to be straight like this, so he's holding it like more American Gothic style. All right, let's be careful here. Okay. 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 How do I want to handle painting these? I think I'm going to put them on a stick of some kind. No, I must have something like that somewhere here. some masking tape too. Boom. Nope, that's not. I 3D printed these little ribbons using the absolute most brittle, delicate resin ever made. And I haven't sent, well, afterwards, now that I know that there are good 3D printing resins with a little bit of give to them, I've never gone back to this super brittle, I forget what, I think it is like just the standard Elegoo or something, but if you make even the slightest mistake with one of these things, it just shatters into a million pieces. But I don't need a ton of ribbons here. I just need at least a couple to survive. Normally, I would plaster my lump with a bunch of medals to show his prowess in combat, but I ran out of little metal 3D printed bits. So now I'm using the ribbons. It's part of the reason why I'm making this guy a Red Ribbon Society lump specifically. Uh-oh. Dang it. Okay, lost another one. Okay, well, we got more than enough there. Alright. I think I'm going to need all of 2 droplets of primer. Yeah. Maybe 4 droplets of primer. Actually, I think I was going to be right. I think I maybe could have used just 2. Find the trick with this brush on primer is that it tends to be very, very watery. So you just kind of have to keep working it until it actually fully dries in order to get a nice, clean, even coat. See if I can get this in focus. Oh, it might be too much glare. All right, so I'm just going to keep playing with all this primer as it dries. Which also, put one of those guys backwards. But I think I'm going to eventually want to flip these guys over and paint them all black on the backside anyway. I started using my first 3D printer maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I can only imagine they've improved to pretty insane levels since 10 years ago. I see people printing like super high quality minis with FDM printers, which I do have one of the bamboo printers, and I've tried printing minis on it. I've not gotten anything that looks nearly as good as what some people are capable of printing. The 3D printer I've had a ton of success though with. Mine is starting to get actually kind of old and grubby at this point. There's just like enough tiny scratches and stuff in it, and little points where I didn't clean it properly and let tiny little droplets of resin cure on the screen, that just each time I print with it, there's just a surface of good printing texture layer just slowly gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's one of the reasons why I really am a big fan of the texture heavy aesthetic of Turnip 28 though, because all of my prints, oh god, I'm curious, even if this is like a super professionally printed piece, and even this you can still see the layer lines. If I don't think that's gonna actually show up. Well, I guess that's how good the layer lines are, at least, is that you can't actually see them. Oh yeah, I've seen people use those homemade printers before. I am always impressed by that. I feel like I do not have anywhere close to whatever the machining or robotic skills or whatever you need in order to make something like that happen. Okay. I'm gonna have to break out the hair dryer for a second. Is that in this room? That one might actually not be in here. Oh, right here actually. Well, that's concerning. That smells like that's burning, even having that on its lowest setting. Uh-oh. We also definitely lost a ribbon somewhere in that process. Okay. See if we can now flip these over. Boom. Okay. Okay, hot glue gun. Let's use the last of you. So I should probably have you turned off and not sitting. Staying as a burn hazard. Bup, 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 bup. Set to dry. I now have about 150. Well, that's a severe exaggeration, but probably a solid, like, actual double digits, maybe like 15 unfinished turnip projects right now. I'm getting in this horrible, horrible, horrible habit of half starting something and then not actually finishing it. This is a witch hunter that I was making for, I don't know what exactly it was going to be. I guess a snob or a toff, but maybe as an NPC. Another thing I like about turnip is that I have a bunch of guys that are definitely differently scaled, like the 28 versus 32 millimeter difference. So some of these guys would be like 8 feet tall compared to like 5 feet tall guys, but I think in turnip land that's fine. This is the one pet of many for Wandering Morris, who collects pets. I was going to make this guy alongside my Jabberwock. I was going to make all the various creatures, the Bandersnatch. That's who this guy was supposed to be. He's half snail, half wolf. This was going to be the Jub bird. And I think those are the only mentioned creatures. I think what I'll eventually end up using these guys for is the herd, which is like the animal beast cult. I don't even know what this guy is, just a random marginalia. Those are dog legs, and then he's just got a random man's face. I think I'm using my wide angle lens, so it's not actually possible to get anything into focus. Actually, this guy, he doesn't look too half bad. This guy is one of the free, and by free I mean not free, Patreon tier rewards, I think, for, oh god, I completely forget what their name is, but some guys that make a whole bunch of, I think, Mordheim inspired 3D prints, and they are all absolutely amazing. This guy is, I think there's a character in the movie Jabberwock who is like a beggar in one of the cities, and he just is on this little cart with wheels, and he just pushes himself around and like begs for money. Which I think the gag, I think the joke is that he's faking it. But this guy just pushes himself around. This is just a guy without a torso. He's just legs, arms, and a head. And okay, is this hot glue dried? Close enough. All right, let's do round 2 of texture paste. Definitely not that guy. I was doing a little bit of work on my Turnip 28 RPG, which I think I keep going in very, very different directions with it every time I actually give it a test run. But one of the thoughts that I had as a mechanic, the one of the contradictions I was trying to work through is the fact that I wanted the turnip RPG to be very deadly, but things get very weird in RPGs when you make character death very common occurrences, because then people stop caring about their characters and then things just start falling apart after that. But one of the ideas that I had was that people would make like little freakish marginalia characters, so that if they did die, they no longer got to play their cool, real I don't know about cool, but at least like a uh, meaningful actor, in the sense that they're at least like a farmer or someone that has some standing in the community. They would die and then they would become just a little marginalia freak who just follows around the rest of the players and either just annoys them or helps them. Uh, I haven't actually like fleshed out that idea in any mechanical sense. Another idea I was thinking was taken from an RPG called Ars Magica, and each person would actually be playing like their own Toph, and then you would switch each session who gets to play the Toph, and then everyone else just plays their lackeys, and you just cycle between everyone. Uh, which I don't know if that's actually exactly how Ars Magica works, but I think like the idea there is that everyone plays like a wizard, and everyone else plays also like, I don't know, 4 or 5 followers or apprentices or whatever. And then you switch out between who gets to play the wizard each session, and everyone else has to play a follower, which is neat, I think, and that it gives everyone a chance to be the main character. But it does kind of require running, like, if you have like 5 people in your group, you're going to have to run a campaign that's like at least 5 sessions long in order to be fair, which seems like could be a tall order. All right. Well, I don't think I'm painting this guy today, because I think this texture paste on his base is going to take like a full 8 hours to dry. We'll see. Maybe if I really blast it with the hair dryer, we can speed this up. Very true. Another game I was thinking about trying to use was Blades in the Dark, where you have your crew and they have their own whole character sheet for your crew that you level up by building little additions onto like your base. And everyone is primarily following the journey of the crew as a whole, rather than concerning themselves with their characters individually. Squelcher of Cyst, that's a good one. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I can already feel like this texture paste might be a little bit crumbly, but hopefully that's not the case when it fully dries. Okay. Continuing just looking at my unfinished project. Oh god, I really gotta have like a full painting day. The more I realize how many unpainted minis I'm accruing. But I made a unit of specifically of 5 chaff for my Cult of the Worm, who has the special ability that they get 5 units in their chaff instead of 4. And these guys are Ashigarus. I feel like I've never actually played Into the Odd. I might be confusing this with another game, but if I recall correctly, I feel like I remember Into the Odd having like a system where the amount of money you waste is how you determine how much XP you gain effectively. And that's how they do like character progression, which I do like something along those lines for Turnip 28. But I feel like for Turnip 28, everything's got to get like exaggerated and made into like the hyperbolic version of it, the sort of traditional RPG counterpart. So I don't know if it would be like food wastage or I don't know honestly, but yeah, I'll have to check out Into the Odd because I've definitely heard good things about it, but I've never actually played it myself. Okay. Are our ribbons dry? They look like they're about dry. 1, 2, 4. Okay. Oh, you get weirder. Interesting. Okay. I think I might be thinking of some random OSR game. But no, I think that actually seems like that would work very well for Turnip. Like if players just find weird tubers that mutate them, you just grow extra arms and become a actual plant, something like that. I could certainly see a focus on getting weirder for the character progression. Absolutely be the way to go for Turnip. Okay. So, I think I'm just gonna dry brush these guys, slap chop them. Let's find a. Gotta. Well, this is the closest one I see. We'll go so full gold acrylic. Ooh, that's gonna have to get mixed up. All right. Well, let's see if this is obnoxious. Ooh, that sounds kind of obnoxious. Okay. I think you will be good. Ooh, feels kind of watery. We'll do this on the paper towel instead. Uh-oh. Oh, we still got some old paint in there. All right, thank you for stopping by. A pleasure as always. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to switch to a slightly more bristled brush. I don't think that guy can actually hold enough paint on him. All right, let's listen to what some Mr. Alistair Crowley
0
has to
through
say about some
50.
things.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. AA publication in classes C and D. Official for Babes of the Abyss. Imprimatur
Let's turn that down
in
so I can turn it up over
Frater
here.
A.A. Liber 333. The Book
All right,
of
I'm hoping
Lies,
listening
which
to
is
this
also
will give me
falsely
some
called
ideas
breaks,
for
the wanderings or
Mage the
falsifications
Ascension.
of the one thought of Frater Perdurabo, which thought
possible
is itself untrue.
this is if
Break,
what I've heard
break,
about it is true.
break at the
This
foot
is
of thy
mostly just
stones,
like,
O sea. I would that
the
I could utter
1910s
the
equivalent
thoughts
of
that arise in
schizo
me.
posting.
Question mark. Exclamation point. Chapter 0. The chapter that is not a chapter. O. The anti-primal triad which is not God. Nothing is. Nothing becomes. Nothing is not. The first triad which is God. I am. I utter the word. I hear the word. The abyss.
Oh, why is this white
The
paint
word
so
is broken up.
transparent? Maybe I
There
just
is knowledge. Knowledge is relation. These fragments are creation. The broken manifests light. The second triad, which is God.
Well, this does sound like
God
some
the Father and
old-timey
Mother is
schizo
concealed in
posting so
generation.
far.
God is concealed in the whirling energy of nature. God is manifest in gathering,
I'm hoping that if I
harmony,
just listen to
consideration,
enough stuff like this,
the
though,
mirror of the sun and of the heart.
eventually I'll
The
just get
third
really
triad.
good in Mage the Ascension of just being able
Bearing,
to ramble
preparing,
off dialogue
wavering,
like this guy.
flowing, flashing, stability, begetting. The 10th emanation, the world. Chapter 1. The Sabbath of the Goat. O, the heart of Nox, the night of Pan. Pan, duality, energy, death. Death, begetting, the supporters of O. To beget is to die.
Alright, there we
To
go.
die
That looks like
is
that's
to
actually got
beget.
some body to it.
Cast the seed into the field of night. Life and death are two names of A. Kill thyself. Neither of these alone is enough. Chapter 2. The Cry of the Hawk. Hur hath a secret fourfold name.
These are some short
It
chapters.
is
We're like 3
do
minutes
what
in. He's
thou
already on
wilt.
chapter 2.
4 words. Not, one, many, all. Thou child, thy name is holy, thy kingdom is come,
Giving up on
thy
joke
will
brushing.
is done.
I'm just brushing this
Here
on.
is the bread, here is the blood. Bring us through temptation, deliver us from good and evil. That mine as thine be the crown of the kingdom, even now. Abrahadabra. These 10 words are for the name of the One. Chapter 3. The Oyster. The brothers of AA are one with the mother of the child. The many is as adorable to the one as the one is to the many. This is the love of these. Creation, parturition, is the bliss of the one. Coition, dissolution, is the bliss of the many. The all,
Once
thus
those dry, open
interwoven
them a
of
little-
these, is bliss.
Little coat of blue speed
Not
paint.
is beyond bliss. The man delights in uniting with the woman, the woman in parting from the child. The brothers of AA are women. The aspirants to AA are men. Chapter 4. Peaches. Soft and hollow, how thou dost overcome the hard and full. It dies, it gives itself. To thee is the fruit. Be thou the bride, thou shalt be the mother hereafter. To all impressions thus, let them not overcome thee, yet let them breed within thee. The least of the impressions, come to its perfection, is Pan. Receive 1,000 lovers, thou shalt bear but one child. This child shall be the heir of Fate the Father. Chapter 5. The Battle of the Ants. That is not which is. The only word is silence. The only meaning of that word is not. Thoughts are false. Fatherhood is unity disguised as duality. Peace implies war. Power implies war. Harmony implies war. Victory implies war. Glory implies war. Foundation implies war. Alas for the kingdom wherein all these are at war. Chapter 6. Caviar. The word was uttered. The one exploded into one.
Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, lost my Wi-Fi, I think. Waiting for connection. Okay. Camera is back. Oh no. It's gone. Nope, it's back.
1,000 million worlds. Each world contained 1,000 million spheres. Each sphere contained 1,000 million planets. Each planet contained 1,000 million stars. Each star contained a many thousand million things. Of these the reasoner took 6, and, preening, said, This is the one and the all. These 6 the adept harmonized, and said, This is the heart of the one and the all. These 6.
Uh-oh, accidentally set him on fire a little bit. It's, something we can wave with. Kind of over-exaggerating the pose. My hope being that once I let go of it, it kind of goes back to a roughly where I want, because I can feel it's going to spring back a little bit.
Were destroyed by the master of the temple. and he spake not. The ash thereof was burnt up by the Magus
Okay.
into the Word. Of all this did the Ipsissimus know nothing. Chapter 7. The Dinosaurs. None are they whose number is 6, else were they 6 indeed. 7 are these 6 that live not in the city of the pyramids, under the night of Pan. There was Lao Tzu, there was Siddhartha, there was Krishna, there was Tahuti, there was Moshe, there was Dionysus, there was Mahmud. But the 7th men called Perdurabo, for enduring unto the end, at the end was not to endure. Amen. Chapter 8. Steeped Horsehair. Mind is a disease
Alright, why do you keep doing
of
that?
semen. All that a man is or may be is hidden therein. Bodily functions are parts of the machine, silent unless in disease. But mind, never at ease, creaketh I. This I persisteth not, posteth not through generations, changeth momently, finally is dead. Therefore is man only himself, when lost to himself in the charioting. Chapter 9. The Branks. Being is the noun, form is the adjective, matter is the noun, motion is the verb. Wherefore hath being clothed itself with form? Wherefore hath matter manifested itself in
Mage the
motion?
Ascension is starting to make
And
a little bit more sense after listening to this. Just in the sense that now the fact that Mage doesn't make any sense, I feel like I'm now I'm now seeing where all of that comes from.
answer not, O silent one, for there is no wherefore,
This is
no
one of those things where
because.
right now it just sounds
The
like
name
complete
of
word
that
salad,
is not known.
but
The pronoun interprets, that is, misinterprets
maybe on your
it.
second re-listen,
Time and space
like,
are adverbs.
the comic book Invincibles,
Duality
that one kinda
begat the
doesn't make
conjunction.
sense while you're
The
reading it.
conditioned is
And then
father
it's
of
not
the
until
preposition.
the second
The
read
article
where you're like,
also
oh,
marketh
okay.
division, but the
I have a suspicion
interjection
this
is the
is not gonna
sound
be
that endeth
one of
in
those types of books,
silence.
though.
Destroy thereof the 8 parts of speech. The 9th is nigh unto truth. This also must be destroyed before thou enterest into the silence. Aum.
This sounds like some
Chapter
LARPing, not gonna lie.
10. Whittlestraws. The abyss of hallucination has law and reason, but in truth there is no bond between the toys of the gods. This reason and law is the bond of the great lie. Truth, 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 crieth the Lord of the abyss of hallucinations. There is no silence
Like,
in
this
that abyss,
sounds like some
for
very
all that
first
men call
version of-
silence is its speech. The abyss is also
Of,
called hell, and the many. Its
like,
name
the
is
first
consciousness
version of
and the universe
ChatGPT.
among men. But that which
Write an
neither is
esoteric,
silent nor
occult
speaks
tome.
rejoices therein. Chapter 11. The Glowworm. Concerning the holy three and naught, knew it, had it, Rahur Kuit, are only to be understood by the master of the temple. They are above the abyss, and contain all contradiction in themselves. Below them is a seeming duality of chaos and Babylon. These are called father and mother, but it is not so.
Now I have to play that very careful
They are called
game
brother and sister, but
where I
it
try to
is
use my
not
hair
so.
dryer
They are
to
called husband and
speed up the
wife,
drying
but
time of
it
my
is
mud
not so.
without
The
accidentally melting
reflection
my hot
of
glue.
all is Pan. The night of Pan is the annihilation of the all. Cast down through the abyss is the light, the rosy cross, the rapture of union that destroys. That is the way. The rosy cross is the ambassador of Pan. How infinite is the distance from this to that, yet all is here and now, nor is there
So my headphones getting disconnected? Oh god. Is that?
any there.
What is this playing through? Alright. Maybe there is some real magic being
Or
cast right
then,
now.
for all that is, what is it but a manifestation?
Okay. Well, maybe we can finish up these ribbons in the meantime. Well. I guess I actually don't want them. Well, should I do half blue, half red ribbons? Or just, I guess they are the Red Ribbon Society, right? So I guess I kind of have to go red, actually. Okay, where is my... Oh, God. I'm really getting punished for having horrible paint organizing. Okay. That is Slaughter Red. That seems like that is a good paint for this. Okay, let's go with that. Okay.
That is a part,
Okay.
that is a falsehood of that which is not. Yet that which is not neither is nor is not that which is. Identity is perfect, therefore the law of identity is but a lie. For there is no subject, and there is
Didn't
no
even
predicate,
impress on that in the
nor is
slightest.
there the contradictory of either of these things. Holy, holy, holy
Really
are
up our
these
brush.
truths that I utter, knowing them to be but falsehoods. Broken mirrors, troubled waters, hide me, O Our Lady, in thy womb, for I may not endure the rapture. In this utterance of falsehood upon falsehood, whose contradictories are also false, it seems as if that which I uttered not were true. Blessed, unutterably blessed, is the last of the illusions.
Wow.
Let me play the
Those
man
look
and thrust it
beautiful.
from me. Amen. Chapter 12. The Dragonflies.
Alright, let me hit all the edges.
I-O
though,
is the cry
actually.
of the lower, as O-I of the higher. In figures they are 1001. In letters they are joy. For when all is equilibrated, when all is beheld from without all, there is joy, joy, joy that is but one facet of a diamond,
Okay.
every other facet whereof is more joyful than joy itself. Chapter 13. Pilgrim Talk. O thou that settest upon the path,
Got a big
false
old
is the
gap on his
phantom
right
that
foot.
thou
Is
seekest.
this anywhere close
When
to...
thou hast it, thou shalt know all
Right, I
bitterness,
think this may be
thy
slightly
teeth
workable.
fixed in the Sodom apple. Thus hast thou been lured along that path,
maybe let's
whose
finish
terror else had driven thee
priming
far
this
away.
black.
O O thou that stridest upon the middle of the path, no phantoms mock thee, for the stride's sake thou stridest. Thus art thou lured along that path, whose fascination else had driven thee far away. O thou that drawest toward the end of the path, effort is no more. Faster and faster dost thou fall. Thy weariness is changed into ineffable rest, for there is no thou upon that path. Thou hast become the way.
Alright, and there is our wooden pitchfork.
Chapter 14. Onion Peelings.
Oh, there we
The
go.
universe is the practical joke of the general at the expense of the particular. Quoth Frater Perdurabo, and laughed. But those disciples nearest to him wept, seeing the universal sorrow. Those next to them laughed, seeing the universal joke. Below these certain disciples wept.
Probably want to do
Then
some
certain laughed.
watery PVA
Others next
sealant
wept.
to all these
Others
grass
next laughed.
bits.
Next others wept.
Yeah, well, let's
Next
just-
others
oh,
laughed.
okay, I can pick up and
Last came those that wept, because they
actually-
could not see the
maybe that
joke.
It does have more
And those that laughed,
tensile
lest they should be
strength than I'm
thought
giving it
not to
credit
see the
for.
joke, and thought it safe
But,
to
yeah, I
act
think
like
I'm gonna
Frater Perdurabo.
get some PVA sealant anyway.
But though Frater Perdurabo laughed openly, he also at the same time wept secretly. And in himself he neither laughed nor wept, nor did he mean what he said. Chapter 15. The Gun Barrel. Mighty and erect is this will of mine, this pyramid of fire whose summit is lost in heaven. Upon it have I burned the corpse of my desire. Mighty and erect is this phallus of my will. The seed thereof is that which I have borne within me from eternity, and it is lost within the body of Our Lady of the Stars. I am not I am but a hollow tube to bring down fire from heaven. Mighty and marvelous is this weakness, this heaven which draweth me into her womb, this dome which hideth, which absorbeth me. This is the night wherein I am lost, the love through which I am no longer I. Chapter 16. The Stag Beetle. Death implies change and individuality. If thou be that which hath no person, which is beyond the changing, even beyond changelessness, what hast thou to do with death? The bird of individuality is ecstasy, so also is its death. In love the individuality is slain. Who loves not love? Love death,
I'm actually gonna want
therefore,
way more of
and
this
long
mixture.
eagerly
It's probably
for
gonna
it.
completely
Die
coat
daily.
every single one of these pieces of grass.
Chapter 17. The Swan.
Maybe I should be using a way bigger
There
brush
is a
for this.
swan whose name is ecstasy. It wingeth from the deserts of the north. It wingeth through the blue. It wingeth over the fields of rice. At its coming they push forth the green. In all the universe this swan
okay,
alone
yep,
is
there's the problem. I
motionless.
just realized I'm crunching
It seems
some
to
blades off.
move, as the
That's what
sun
happens
seems
if I
to
don't glue
move.
them on.
Such is the weakness of our sight.
Okay, let me
O fool,
actually
criest thou.
mix up a good amount of this.
Amen. Motion is relative. There is nothing that is still. Against this swan I shot an arrow.
Blob of PVA.
The white breast poured forth blood. Men smote me. Then, perceiving that I was but a pure fool, they let me pass. Thus, and not otherwise, I came to the
So,
temple
understand.
of the Grail.
Flow improver is just kind
Chapter
of soapy
18.
water.
Dewdrops. Verily,
That will help kind
love
of
is
break up
death,
the
and death
surface
is life to
tension.
come. Man returneth not again.
things
The
start to get
stream
weird if you
floweth
accidentally
not
add a little bit
uphill.
Too much soap.
The old life is no more. There is a new life that is not his. Yet that life is of his very essence.
I'm looking for
It is
water.
more he
Oh, there
than
we go.
all that he calls he.
Okay.
In the silence of a dewdrop is
some of
every
that in there.
tendency of his soul and of his mind and of his body.
The last few
It is
drops
the
of black
quintessence
primer.
and the elixir of his being. Therein are the forces that made him, and his father and his father's father before him. This is the dew of immortality. Let this go free, even as it will. Thou art not its master, but the vehicle of it. Chapter 19. The Leopard and the Deer. The spots of the leopard are the sunlight in the
I still
glade.
plan on going all
Pursue
of this
thou
with a
the
real
deer
actual
stealthily at
primer
thy pleasure.
layer, but
The
mixing a
dappling
little bit
of the
that primer
deer
in
is
there
the
too
sunlight in the glade.
will help cover up
Concealed
things a
from the
little bit
leopard,
and make
do
that
thou
second
feed
primer
at thy
layer
pleasure.
just that tiny bit easier.
Resemble all that surroundeth thee, yet be thyself, and take thy pleasure among the living. This is that which is written. Lurk
If I wanted
in
to
the
be
book
extra
of the law.
professional, I probably would have taken
Chapter
a little
20.
spray bottle
Samson.
of isopropyl and spray that
The
all over
universe
these
is
plants
in
first.
equilibrium.
Again, to
Therefore
kind of just
he
help
that is without it,
open them
though
up
his
so
force
that
be
the
but a
paint
feather,
flows into
can
it more easily.
overturn the universe. Be not caught within that web, O child of freedom. Be not entangled in the universal lie, O child of truth. Chapter 21. The Blind Webster. It is not necessary to understand. It is enough to adore. The God may be of clay. Adore him. He becomes God. We ignore what created us. We adore what we create. Let us create nothing but God. That which causes us to create is our true father and mother. We create in our own image, which is theirs. Let us create, therefore, without fear. For we can create nothing that is not God. Chapter 22. The Despot. The waiters of the best eating houses mock the whole world. They estimate every client at his proper value.
You might honestly want to
This
even do
I
a
know
second
certainly,
coat.
because they always treat me with profound respect. Thus they have flattered me into praising them thus publicly. Yet it is true,
Just hit this with the
and
hair
they have
dryer.
this insight because they serve, and because they can have no personal
can't go
interest
too hot,
in the
otherwise I'll melt all
affairs
the hot
of
glue.
those whom they serve. An absolute monarch would be absolutely wise and good. But no man is strong enough to have no interest. Therefore the best king would be pure chance. It is pure chance that rules the universe. Therefore, and only therefore, life is good.
This
Chapter
does continue
23.
to sound like just
Skidoo.
pure.
What man is at
Schizo
ease
posting.
in his inn? Get out. Wide
not
is the
convinced.
world and cold. Get out. Thou hast become an initiate. Get out. But thou canst not get out by the way thou camest in. The way out is the way. Get out. For out is love and wisdom and power. Get out. If thou hast tea already, first get UT, then get O, and so at last get out.
Okay.
Chapter
I can already
24.
tell these are going to be
The
an
Hawk
absolute
and the
complete
Blind Worm.
nightmare to actually paint.
This book would translate beyond reason into the words of reason.
Maybe I should
Explain
actually just
thou
start painting
snow
it green
to
now,
them of
so it's not
Andaman.
nearly as much of
The slaves of
a
reason
nightmare
call
later.
this book abuse of language. They are right. Language was made for men to eat and drink, make love, do barter,
Okay.
die. The wealth of a language consists in its abstracts.
Actually,
The poorest
maybe I
tongues have
should look
wealth
and
of concretes.
find a little bit more of
Therefore have
a
adepts
vibrant-
praise silence. At least it does not mislead as speech does.
Here's some old
Also, speech
army
is a
painter
symptom of thought.
crap.
Yet silence
Really, honestly,
is
these
but the
paints
negative
are
side
actually
of
totally
truth.
fine, but
The positive side is beyond even silence. Nevertheless,
like very,
one
very
true God
noticeably
crieth Hriliu,
crappier compared to like
and
new
the
paints.
laughter of the death rattle is akin. Chapter 25.
Alright,
The Star
let's use
Ruby.
a bigger brush this time. Maybe
Facing
honestly
east,
like a really,
in the
really
center,
big. Okay,
draw
first let's
deep,
try this off.
deep,
Actually,
deep thy breath, closing thy mouth with thy right
still got maybe a
forefinger
20%
pressed against thy lower
wettage.
lip. Then, dashing down the hand with a great sweep back and out, expelling forcefully thy breath, cry, Apo Pantos Kakodemonos. With the same forefinger touch thy forehead, and say, Soy, thy member, and say, O Phale, thy right shoulder, and say, Iskoros, thy left shoulder, and say, Eucharistos. Then clasp thine hands, locking the fingers, and cry, I-A-O. Advance to the east. Imagine strongly a pentagram, aright in thy forehead. Drawing the hands to the eyes, fling it forth, making the sign of Horus, and roar, Chaos! Retire thine hand in the sign of Hor-Pa-Krat. Go round to the north and repeat, but scream, Babylon! Go round to the west and repeat, but say, Eros! Go round to the south and repeat, but bellow, Psyche! Completing the circle widdershins, retire to the center, and raise thy voice in the paean with these words, Iopan, with the sign of NOX. Extend the arms in the form of a tau, and say, low but clear, Promo Iungus Opisomo Teletarchi Epidexia Sinoches Eparistera Demones Flagei Gar Perimo Ho Aster Ton Pinte
I think this guy's
Kai
easily
in the
hugest
still
of the
Ho
many
Aster Ton
lumps I've made
Hex
so far.
Estki. Repeat the cross Kabbalistic as above,
Still not
and end as thou
dry
didst
as I
begin.
want it to be.
Chapter 26. The Elephant
I'll get a
and
little
the
bit
Tortoise.
greedy. I'll keep trying to apply some
The
more
absolute
on.
and the
Unfortunately, I've hit a
condition
very
together make the one
wet and
absolute.
dry kind of point
The
to the
second,
project.
who is the fourth, the demiurge,
But,
whom all nations of men call the first, is a lie grafted upon a lie multiplied by a lie. Fourfold
Alright,
is
well,
he,
the
the
demiurge is finally
elephant
coming
upon
up.
whom the universe is poised, but the carapace of the tortoise supports and covers all. This tortoise is sixfold, the holy hexagram. These 6 and 4 are 10. 10, the one manifested that returns to the not unmanifest. The Almighty, the All-Ruler, the All-Knower, the All-Father, adored by all men and by me abhorred. Be thou accursed, be thou abolished, be thou annihilated. Amen. Chapter 27. The Sorcerer. A sorcerer, by the power of his magic, had subdued all things to himself. Would he travel? He could fly through space more swiftly than the stars. Would he eat, drink, and take his pleasure? There was none that did not instantly obey his bidding. In the whole system of 10 million times 10 million spheres upon the 22 million planes he had his desire. And with all this he was but himself, alas. Chapter 28. The Pole Star. Love is all virtue, since the pleasure of love is but love, and the pain of love is but love. Love taketh no heed of that which is not, and of that which is. Absence exalteth love, and presence exalteth love. Love moveth from height to height of ecstasy, and faileth never. The wings of love droop not with time, nor slacken for life or for death. Love destroyeth self, uniting self with that which is not self, so that love breedeth all and none in one. Is it not so? No? Then thou art not lost in love. Speak not of love. Love always yieldeth. Love always hardeneth. May be. I write it, but to write her name. Chapter 29. The Southern Cross. Love, I love you. Night, night, cover us. Thou art night, O my love, and there are no stars but thine eyes. Dark night, sweet night, so warm and yet so fresh, so scented, yet so holy. Cover me, cover me. Let me be no more. Let me be thine. Let me be thou. Let me be neither thou nor I. Let there be love in night and night in love. N-O-X, the night of Pan, and Layla, the night before his threshold. Chapter 30. Jhana Dreams. Dreams are imperfections of sleep. Even so is consciousness the imperfection of waking. Dreams are impurities in the circulation of the blood. Even so is consciousness a disorder of life. Dreams are without proportion, without good sense, without truth. So also is consciousness. Awake from dream, the truth is known.
Yeah, I think I'll
Awake
keep
from
that
waking,
to paint it for
the
later.
truth is the unknown.
Hmm.
Chapter 31. The
All right,
Garret.
well, I think I've got enough to wait.
It
to dry
moves from
on
motion
hand.
into rest, and
So,
rests from
I
rest
will-
into motion.
I don't know.
These
Maybe
it
today,
does
probably
always,
not.
for
Maybe
time
tomorrow,
is not.
when hopefully he's
So that
sorta
it does
dry.
neither
I'll
of
finish
these
him up.
things. It does